guess you could say the name was sort of a playful take on a serious consideration that we held in common. And I think we found a unique way to expand the discourse that was going on about the body.
Name 10 parts of the body came about organically, as probably most collectives do.
Jeannie and I knew each other from
Scene painting, yeah.
Yes, scene painting. And Millie and I
Worked at Art Resource Center.
Art Culture Resource
Art
Center.
Culture Resource Center.
Way back in the 80s.
Yeah. And I knew Evelyn from working at the gallery school at the AGO. We should probably talk a bit about the foundations of the collective, in terms of the kind of discourse that was going on then in academia and in cultural circles in general. There was a lot of work that was revisiting the body in the 80s into the early 90s. And in terms of this use of portions or fragments of the body as symbolic of a larger discussion, this was what we realized that we shared in common.
And I think part of the impetus too was to give ourselves some power, and I think that's probably true of other collectives too, that you have a chance to decide where you're going to show and who you're going to show with and just make it happen.
Well, I think definitely we wanted it to be a female group as well. There didn't seem to be a lot of female groups happening at the time, and wanted a strong female show.
I guess you could say the name was sort of a playful take on a serious consideration that we held in common. And I think that was partly a response to the feminist challenge, which was how to represent the female body without objectifying it, right? And so with the fragment, you could start to treat it symbolically, and you could take away that sense of it as an object and start to reinvest it with meaning. And our first exhibition actually was in a traditional gallery. And I remember we were just talking about at the opening of our first exhibition, we had a contest which was to name 10 parts of the body that each had 3 letters. And they had to be things that would be allowed on the CBC. I know we pulled out some winners, but we can't remember what they got.
What they won.
And apparently we gave out prizes. None of us remember what it was.
And after we had the first exhibition, there was an interview that was done by Workscene magazine, and Penelope Stewart interviewed us, which was a great way to kind of formalize the things that we had talked about. But then we wanted to go to sort of extensions of those symbols, so into clothing and other adornments of the body. So it made sense to try to show that in a situation where you'd get a larger audience and in a context that made sense.
And shopping.
And to expose the work to people that wouldn't be going into a gallery. We were using clothing-based work, and we were putting it in a mall situation. Therefore, people who were shopping would come upon this art piece and see things that they wouldn't have normally seen.
In general, the setup of the exhibition there were things in vitrines, there were things that looked like mannequins or used old mannequins as a support for the work. So the whole thing looked like a store display. So what was really great as far as I was concerned was that people would come in and take an initial look, and then you can see them doing the double take and saying, wait a minute, there's something different about this, and then get involved in looking at it.
You know, there was a piece made out of human hair that looked like a coat at first, but you come up to it and it's actually, so that kind of recoil effect was certainly something we were interested in terms of the unexpected. Deborah Salek Ashforth did a prom dress, but the way that she exhibited it, it became like a petri dish that you could see through translucent layers of it.
Well, Mindy Ann Miller did a great piece that was a mending booth that she set up with herself behind a counter, and she took in mending from people who just happened to be walking through, you know, in the Eaton Center, who were just amazed to find that there was still a service like that in a place like that.
And she also was involved in a performance piece that was executed by Suzanne Miller. It consisted of used clothing that was assembled into an incredibly large and extremely heavy skirt that Suzanne said felt like she was having menstrual cramps when she dragged it around the mall.
We tried to be innovative in the kinds of materials that we created. You know, the invitations were meant to be eye-catching and to be relevant to the exhibitions. So this is, a cloth catalog which we produced for the second exhibition in the seam. And it involved each artist participating with an image. And it was designed and screen printed. Actually, Mindy Ann Miller did the screen printing in Montreal. And we each contributed something to it.
This is Mindy's contribution. She burned her text into the cloth after it was printed. And the text is assembled by René Bart.
And we sold this cloth by the yard too. So, you know, each artist who participated got a length of it, and we had it for sale as well.
I don't think we had any expectations that people that were viewing this work within that would be interested in purchasing artwork. It was
Except
more
for the cloth.
Except for the cloth
Catalog.
yeah. Other than that, I don't think they were the right clientele.
It was sort
tended
of
to be-
shopping interruptus.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think when you talk about the differences between the collectives, they were all unique. You know, that was something that, although we were aware of what was going on in other collectives and interested for sure, we each had our own identity, and I think that's something that was really interesting about that period. Well, a lot of the collectives, I think, for them, the site was very important. So, you know, your memory of those shows often have to do with where it was and how those works made sense there.
I mean, this is the biggest pleasure for me in terms of being part of any collective, is that it does come out of common interests and this desire to explore it further together. It's fun.
I don't think our collective sort of ended because we were frustrated or overwhelmed by the work. I think it just, for all of us, probably provided a really great sounding board to work with each other and a chance to expand our own work. Otherwise, it was you know, a great experience. But you can always look back at all the hours you spent writing grants and, you know, just organizing.
Mm-hmm. Which is why collectives, you know, are maybe largely short-lived. It's not like we've stopped discussion, but it was just other things came in and distracted us away from this collective. So, yeah. I think it is the DIY spirit, you know.
I think so too. Like,
Yeah.
just knowing you can do whatever you want. If we can have an art show in a retail space and not be selling anything, you know, we could be in any space, making it and creating it into anything we want. I guess taking away any boundaries, to be creative in all aspects. Nobody
Yeah.
was telling us how we had to do anything.